Alrighty everyone, hello, welcome to the month of June, and for this month, our herb of the month is none other than dill. By the way, if you want to see these videos 2 weeks earlier, consider subscribing to my Patreon, where you not only get all these videos, but also recipe cards, specific deity profiles, and lots of other interesting things to look at. Video tiers start at $10 a month, so definitely consider checking it out. So dill is one of those herbs that I feel like you don't really see as often in your everyday typical dishes, right? Usually we're using something like basil, oregano, anything like that, but any of my Slavic or Germanic or Scandinavian friends know that dill is so delicious on certain things. So way back in the day, and I'm talking like 3,000 years ago in Egypt, we had a little plant called dill, and it was being recorded, right, as a very soothing herb, as a healing herb. And it was also one that the Egyptians would use to even ward witches away, right? They would ward harmful and bad magic away from their children with dill. They would also just, eat it on foods. They would ingest it as an herb, especially because the seeds are pretty bitter. They would use the seeds in more medicinal things. And those seeds in that herb kind of helped calm people down, deal with any kind of digestive issues, so on and so forth. Likewise, the Greeks and the Romans also understood it to be a very helpful and soothing herb, and also one that for the Greeks symbolized wealth, right? It symbolized, a prosperous house. But if we take a look at the word dill itself, there is some speculation that it comes from the Old Norse word like dilla, which basically means exactly what everyone else already thought it meant. It meant like soothing, alluring, something that would help you calm down a little bit while adding a pretty nice flavor to any of the dishes that people normally eat. This herb, as you can see, it's kind of, fluffy. It grows in this very interesting way where it kind of sprouts off of itself, and it looks an awful lot like something like fennel, and that's because it actually is in the same family as parsley, cilantro, and fennel, and other things like that. So it's been around for a pretty long time, and it's always been known to be both magically and physically restorative and protective. So let's take a look a little bit more at that medicinal quality. And remember, do not replace actual medicine or medical advice with herbs that you get from the grocery store. They are wonderful for like quick little things that are not serious, like if you just kind of happen to have a little gas. Obviously you're not going to the hospital for that, but do not replace doctor's advice, medications, or anything with herbs unless you are actually prescribed so by a trained herbalist. This isn't a free-for-all out here. We have modern medicine for a reason. Nonetheless, dill is something that, like most herbs, is so insanely jam-packed with nutrients. And I'm talking like vitamins A, C, and D, vitamin B complexes. I'm talking calcium and iron and potassium and folate and riboflavin and manganese and all these other kinds of metals and just compounds that you need to function in a way that doesn't totally suck. The essential oils of dill and just the properties of it in general, right? The things that make dill what it is, that make it smell that way, that make it the color that it is, that make it the shape that it is, they all contribute to helping people with their skin health, their eye health, their hormonal regulation, even with sleep a little bit. And it also, especially because dill is a carminative, which means a gas buster, it's really good with helping with digestion. If for some reason you ate like a pound of beans, like I sometimes do when I make yota, a little bit of dill, fantastic. It helps, right? Same thing with things like caraway and stuff. My mom always said if you make something with a lot of cabbage in it, you want to use something like caraway. You want to use something like dill, right? Because it's got those gas-busting qualities that are going to make it a lot less painful later on after you've eaten such a thing. So dill is one of those herbs that's a lot just really good for supporting overall general health, right? Keeping yourself regulated, keeping your body functioning the way it needs to. It's not like a superhero that's going to cure every ailment, but it can absolutely put you back into balance if somehow you got yourself out of balance, especially for someone like me who has skin that likes to flip out a lot. Dill is a little helpful in giving the nutrients necessary to rebuild skin properly. And so where you're going to find dill a lot, as I said earlier, anyone who's Slavic, Germanic, or Scandinavian, you're going to find dill a lot in probably one of the most famous ideas, dill pickles, right? If you make dill pickles, it's usually like some kind of brine with a bunch of cucumbers in it that includes peppercorns, dill seeds, dill weed, and a little bit of sugar and other such things like that. It's a fantastic herb for pickling because it has such a distinct and pungent flavor. But on top of that, when you have it fresh, it is also really good on eggs. It's good on, say, lamb dishes, salmon. It's really awesome in soups and sauces. Sometimes I put a little bit of dill in my chicken soup just to kind of add that tangy flavor. And it's something that a little bit goes a long way, so you don't need a lot. Trust me when I say, especially if you're using the dried herb, because you can get the dried herb, a little goes a long way. You don't want to throw a ton of dried dill especially into something. With fresh, you'll have to use a little bit more than you would dried, but it's very strong in its flavor and it will overpower. A couple dishes, again, that I can think to make are German cucumber salad. There's a Finnish egg sauce that one of my boyfriend's followers actually gave to us that also you can either use chives or dill on top. Things that are rich and creamy and hearty, they tend to go really well with something that's bright and flavorful like dill. Dill really offsets and breaks up that rich creaminess. And I mean, just dill potatoes among Slavic people, right, is really, really good. So good. It's not something I use a lot, so I only have one little bit of it in my garden tower, but when I do use it, it is very much appreciated because it's just got a flavor unlike any other herb that I normally use. So remember that. If you're using something that's got a lot of sour cream, or something that's just very hefty, hearty in general, potatoes, egg sauces, roux kind of sauces, fish, dill, amazing, amazing. But here's the thing, right? This is something that I really want everyone to understand. The physical qualities of an herb, as well as the things that you use it on and like the general uses of it in cooking, these contribute to how people understand them magically. So when we look at the magical properties of dill, we find that, at least according to Scott Cunningham, it is one that is ruled by Mercury and also fire. So unlike mint, which is Mercury and air, dill is Mercury and fire. And it has a lot of qualities of invoking love, maybe even lust. It has potential for money magic because of how many seeds it gets when it starts flowering. It makes these big pods. If you've ever seen like yarrow or something, that big kind of cone cup full of seeds, it makes one of those. So tons of seeds means lots of wealth, lots of fertility, lots of money. And then it's also just really good in general for luck and also protection. Remember what I said earlier, that the Egyptians really like to kind of put it in like little satchels and just hanging around their kids for protection? That fire makes it very baneful towards evil things. For me personally, my go-to with dill is absolutely in money spells. Whenever I'm doing some kind of prosperous work, dill is there, and especially because it's ruled by Mercury, it's something that can help you get wealth through communication, intellect, and collaborative work with other people. Mercury is all about technology, communication, explaining and communicating ideas, especially abstract concepts. And so that's kind of that energy that if you are working on big, broad concepts, on big projects with people, especially in tech spheres, humanitarian spheres, anything that big ideas need to be communicated, dill is your guy, okay? Dill is absolutely your guy. And using dill is so easy. Literally just go get some dill pickles. Dill pickles, and then you can throw in a little bit of moon, water, cucumber energy in there too. I also, when I do more ritual magic, I will like to include it in a satchel or in something that's going to get burned up, because especially if it's dried, it's going to burn up easily, and it's not going to make any smoke that's a problem to inhale. It's not going to make a super big mess, right? It's just a normal dried herb if you got the dried stuff. So if you're putting out a collection of items that represent your intention, you can absolutely just put that right in there, say with cinnamon, with basil, with other things that represent that fire, that prosperous energy, that passion. However, for all of us kitchen witches, obviously in the summertime when dill is most abundant and all the things that like to grow with it, like zucchinis and cucumbers are also abundant, you've got a lot of options for making some kind of like cucumber salad that you can bring to a party, and so that you can enrich everyone with some really great conversation and some really effective and productive ideas, right? Because remember, wealth and luck, I mean, we think about it as a job. We think about our jobs in terms of what we want to accomplish with money and stuff, but it can also be a wealth of friendship, a wealth of healthy communication, a wealth of self-expression. And so when you bring those concepts to the party, you can help everyone else have a pretty good time too by bringing the energy of dill into the equation. All in all, it's a bit of an acquired taste, this herb, admittedly a bit of an acquired taste, but it is worth it, it is delicious, and if you have ancestry like Scandinavian, Slavic, Germanic, it is tied to your family as well, because there are so many of those dishes that use it, so many. So, definitely, if you want to play with it, definitely do. If you want to plant some of it, it goes really well next to zucchinis and cucumbers and things like that. And if you want to use it in spells, remember those qualities we talked about today. With that, I will see you guys next time for a little bit more of a kitchen demo, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. See ya!